And joining us today is Shelby Scales, the President and CEO of AMAC. Shelby, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Tell us about yourself. Tell us how you got into the transportation industry and more specifically aviation.
Very good. So starting with doing some consulting for NCDOT and working from there, going to work for the Department of Transportation as a compliance officer in the Office of Civil Rights. Then there was a great opportunity that it came open at one of our local airports with doing some redevelopment for Terminal 2 at Raleigh-Durham. So that's how I got into aviation, and I'm so glad I moved from highway to aviation because that's where the action is.
Okay. Tell us a bit about AMAC.
AMAC is a national nonprofit association. We were established back in 1988 for the sole purposes of including minorities and women in the aviation industry. And we work with airports all across the country with their diversity program as well as their employment of minorities and women in aviation-related positions.
Now, we're here at the 43rd annual conference of COMTO.
Absolutely.
How does what COMTO does line up with what AMAC does?
So we are very much aligned in that we promote minority and women businesses, but also minority and women in employment opportunities across transportation. AMAC, of course, represents the aviation industry, but COMTO represents all of us, aviation, highway, rail, and transit. So together, it's very good that we can work to include minority businesses as well as minorities in all the opportunities, particularly management opportunities in transportation.
How difficult has it been for minorities in transportation to make the jump from, driving the bus or, doing whatever you do on the tarmac to being in a position where you're in leadership?
I would say, particularly on the aviation side, it's been quite difficult. It's been, as many of us would say, in the business sense, the good old boy network. But we have found many of our members and minorities that we try to work with just simply don't get the opportunity to get that direct experience at the management level. So that's where we come in to really try to work with a lot of the airport directors to create what we call a mentorship program, where we can have up-and-coming emerging professionals to actually go from airport to airport or department to department to get that broad range business experience across the board to move up into management. But it's been difficult. I mean, you can go to an aviation management school, but really to work at some of our major airports, you need that direct experience, and someone has to give them the opportunity and also to mentor them.
And speaking of mentorship, I know that Julie was your mentor in a sense.
Absolutely.
What did she do for you that others should expect when they are mentored?
I think what Julie did for me is challenge me not only to seek out people like her, professionals that had that direct experience and that were willing to give me some kind of inroads into how the business was done, but also she challenged my education. She said, listen, if you want to be in this arena, you have to understand association management, but you also have to understand how transportation is done outside of the diversity arena. So you really have to talk to those airport directors and those officials at the management level to see what is their business plan, and then how can we overlay the diversity piece into the business of the day. And so with that, I think she really kind of challenged my thinking early on, and such that it's not just about diversity and inclusion, but it makes good business sense to include our community into many of the business opportunities that the airports and transportation in general have.
Okay. Julie didn't make it to this conference, at least not in body, but I know she's here in spirit. When we talk about her legacy, what do you see as Julie's legacy to COMTO?
I see so much, but most importantly, I see the next generation of professionals, starting with high school students to college students on up to emerging professionals like myself. Julie really took the time to talk to people one-on-one and to say, what is your plan? Let's get a plan. Let's execute the plan. How are we doing with the plan? And so to me, seeing other professionals to just pick that up and say to me, okay, now we have to keep this going on. You're now in that role to mentor someone else. How are you coming along with that? And so I really see Julie as really pushing all of us professionals to be a mentor to someone else. And that's the legacy that I carry.
And a final word to our young emerging leaders and our city interns. What would you say to them as they pursue careers in transportation?
I would say to them to take the same pathway that I did. Look at who's on the cutting edge and go talk to them. I mean, go talk to them and say, I would like to be in this role one day. How did you get there? What was your educational background? What experience should I really be targeting in my career path? When you talk to professionals that are doing the job that you want to do, a lot of times they take great interest in you and they'll follow you as your mentor. So I would say the same path that I took. Go talk to people that are doing what you want to do and see how they got to be where they are today.
All right.
And stay committed to that.
Thank you so much, Shelby, for being with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.